Talked about this, oh geez, about a month ago when Anthony Fauci's NIH, whatever the fuck it's called, his organization was doing experiments on beagles, like putting their head in fucking fly cages and having them being stripped of their flesh alive. That was pretty despicable, and it still probably tops the list, but right there, probably 1A to its number one spot is the fact that he had an island of Rhesus monkeys in South Carolina that he was also experimenting on in excruciating detail. Apparently, he's an actual monster. Like, why does anybody lionize this fucking creep? A group that investigates taxpayer-funded experiments on animals has disclosed and documented exposing the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases excruciating experiments on Rhesus monkeys. The monkeys, which are owned by the NIAID, are acquired from Morgan Island off the coast of Beaufort, South Carolina. Justin Goodman, Vice President of Advocacy and Public Policy from the White Coat Waste Project, those are the same ones that broke the Beagle stories, told the Epoch Times that a non-profit taxpayer watchdog group obtained the documents in October through the Freedom of Information Act request. White coats is a reference to those conducting the experiments, and waste is a reference to the horrible return on investment the taxpayers are getting from this type of experimentation from the agencies like the NIH admit are incredibly insufficient and rarely improve human health, though the NIH alone continues to spend $20 billion a year on animal experimentations like what's being done to monkeys from Morgan Island, Goodman said, explaining his reasoning behind the WCWP's name, brother. A document obtained by the group reveals NIAID has spent $13.5 million of taxpayer funding on experiments that involved injecting the monkeys with various infectious diseases such as Ebola and the Lassa virus. That's a new one to me, maybe it isn't to you guys. That results in hemorrhaging, pain, brain damage, loss of motor control, and organ failure. Okay, it's interesting, right? Because animal experimentation, well, morally it feels wrong if it helps further any sort of medical information and it helps with research where you don't have to experiment on humans or, like anything that provides a tangible good for the world. That would be fine, but if it doesn't, push anything forward and it's been proven that it's just generally a reckless research, why do you have to keep doing it? That just seems a little bit fucked to me. And I'm not somebody who's a dyed-in-the-wall animal rights advocate, but you know what, if you're just going to be doing unnecessary experimentation, I got some questions. I really do. Document obtained by the group, reveals that Fauci, the director of NIAID, would have known about these experiments. Many of those experiments, Fauci and staff intentionally withhold pain relief, even though these are some of the most excruciating experiments in the federal government, Goodman said. The WCWP also recently exposed NIAID's experiment on beagles, which again, why beagles? They're so cute, which involved having sandflies eat the dogs alive, as well as experiments that involved force-feeding 44 beagle puppies an experimental drug before killing and dissecting them. Ew, I didn't know about that. Fuck, I hate him. The federal spending database shows that the HHS has given Charles River Laboratories $13.5 million out of a potential award of $27.5 million since 2018 to breed and maintain the monkeys. NIAID paid $8.9 million of that $13.5 million. So they didn't pay for all of it and prayed that they didn't get more money out of the $27.5 million. Island is owned by South Carolina Department of Natural Resources and is leased to the Charles River Laboratories. So fear experiments, interesting. The island caught WCWP's attention when the group was investigating fear experiments on monkeys taking place inside the NIH's lab in Bethesda. This literally sounds like a plot to a Batman cartoon. A deeper dive into those separate experiments at NIH led the WCWP to discover that the source of the monkeys was Morgan Island. Okay, get to the fear test. I want to know about that. Started triangulating information about the island with the experiments in the labs that we found. The Fauci's labs are the single largest supporter of that island. In 2020, there were 3,521 monkeys on the island, with 750 of them being born annually. So I guess they're doing a good job of repopulating the island. Between 500 and 600 of the monkeys are shipped to the NIH and the laboratories there within. again. It's very unlikely that Fauci didn't know about this. No, but he would never testify to it unless it was advantageous for him too, and then just give him a couple weeks and he'll eventually come around to that fact. Given the amount of money involved in the fact that these experiments are happening in his own laboratories, these aren't being contracted somewhere else, they are happening in his own house. If they're going to get credit for any good he does, he needs to be blamed for any of the bad that happens on his watch as well. The buck stops with him, and he's certainly responsible. The monkeys were shipped to the Caribbean Primate Research Center to Morgan Island in 1979, so they've had them for a while. Jesus. According to PubMed.gov, the monkeys reestablished their former social groups from the Caribbean Research Center after being transported to the island. All right. Vaccine research is the reason given for some of the experimentation. Therefore, you should not look any further into it because it's a public health emergency and a pandemic and all that stupid shit. However, despite the biological similarities to humans, NIH has stated that 9 out of 10 drugs that pass tests on animals fail in humans because they don't work and they're dangerous. Oh, wow. So if you've known this for a while and you've had these monkeys since 1979, why do you keep experimenting on them? You have like a 90% failure rate. That's almost like bills that Joe Biden would sponsor in the House, or rather in the Senate chambers. Research shows that despite their similarities to us, they are incredibly poor predictors of how vaccines and other drugs are going to act in humans. Then why do they continue? Okay, listen, if they know that it's like a really bad idea to experiment on monkeys because they don't really prove anything, why do you keep funding this? I don't get it. Okay, maybe that's what these guys are trying to get to the bottom of. And it's like, well, they're trying to figure out waste projects. So this just happens to be one of them. One of the procedures highlighted, NIAID staff performed a cotorectomy, which involves cutting a dog's vocal cord so it can't bark, howl, cry during an experiment. You fucking monsters, dude. The reason the Department of Health and Human Services gives on its website for using beagles is that they are small and docile, meaning they're easy to abuse. Oh, that's so fucking sad. Dr. Stacy Lopresti Goodman, a primate expert, psychology professor, and WCWP advisor, noted that the use of primates for the experimentation described in the obtained documents isn't only abusive, but insufficient as well. Well, if she knows about primates, she'd probably be a good source to probably consult on this type of stuff. Primate experimentation is a cruel and notoriously unreliable way to develop drugs and treatments for humans, and it doesn't deserve taxpayer support, she said. Dr. Tiffany Millis, a pathologist and medical advisor to WCPW, nope, that's a different thing, WCWP, said that infecting non-human primates with painful and debilitating illness, with the goal of curing humans is not just cruel, but it's incredibly wasteful. The NIH should stop squandering taxpayer dollars on wasteful and cruel primate testing that doctors like me cannot use to actually help people. Ooh, that's pretty damning, because she's a primate expert, and if we're supposed to follow the experts uncritically, you should probably follow your own advice. NIAID's response. When reached for comment about the experiments, they said that the monkeys are used for research that helps develop life-saving preventions and treatments for the diseases affecting public health with a 90% failure rate. Congratulations, you guys are useless, and that's why we need less government. So yeah, as if you needed any more of a black mark in the ledger for Fauci as to why he's incompetent, why he's useless, and why he should just be at least not the most expensive federal employee that's currently out there. Here's another reason why. But with that said, guys, I thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.